When Kia announced that it would bring the 4th generation Rio to the United States, we were rather surprised. The subcompact segment in which it competes isn't exactly hot here, and small cars have tight profit margins. It makes more sense to concentrate on tiny crossovers that are more popular and can sell for more cash. Ford seems to be taking this tack with the impending introduction of the EcoSport, and the delayed introduction of the new Fiesta in America. Even Kia itself has experienced success with subcompact crossovers with the Soul. Kia seems determined to stick with the segment, though. A Kia representative told us that, even though the US subcompact market may not be booming, it still accounts for about 500,000 cars a year. Plus, if any manufacturers leave the segment, that's an opportunity to pick up some conquest sales. He also said that regardless of the size of the market, Kia still sees a portion of the car-buying public that will always want a budget subcompact, and that it can be a good introduction to the brand. So with that in mind, is the Kia Rio a good introduction to the Korean car company? In general, yes, and we were introduced to it in and around Baltimore, MD, where we were able to try out the top-level Kia Rio EX on everything from cobblestone streets to winding country lanes. And at first glance, the Rio is a handsome little machine. While the previous generation was round and bubbly, the new model looks more aggressive, and has a shape more akin to larger vehicles. Think the longer, more horizontal grille, slender, swept-back headlights, lower belt line, large lower grille and jutting lip. The hatchback is the more attractive version of the car, but the sedan is far from ugly, which is no small feat for a subcompact. Compared with the European version of the Rio, and even the previous generation model, though, there are visual differences that reveal the 4th generation US spec Rio has succumbed to cost-cutting measures. Though admittedly adorable, and probably a boon to ride quality, they do look disappointing when compared to the available 17-inch units on the European model, or even those on the old Rio. Additionally, you'll want to avoid the base model LX due to a dearth of features. It goes without power windows, cruise control, a telescoping steering wheel, split folding rear seat, adjustable headrests, Bluetooth, or keyless entry. In fact, the only option available on any Rio is the red leather accent package on the top-level X. Fortunately, there's plenty of space for feet beneath the front seats. As for cargo room, the hatchback has picked up an extra 2.4 cubic feet of space behind the rear seats for a total of 17.4. With the rear seats folded, there's room for 32.8 cubic feet of stuff. 2018 Kia Rio EX interior. One area where the Rio clearly hasn't suffered from cost-cutting or generally being a cheap car is in the driving experience. The first thing that impressed was the ride quality, thanks to a starting point on the cobblestone streets in front of the hotel. The Rio doesn't make bumps vanish the way a Jaguar does, and in fact it has a fairly firm ride, but its dampers do exactly what they're supposed to, dampen bumps. You can clearly feel them, but you aren't being pummeled into submission. The car stays impressively composed, too. The body doesn't float or wallow, nor does it shimmy and shake. It feels genuinely solid and secure. The X model we drove featured 4-wheel disc brakes, and they seemed to have plenty of stopping power. This is evident looking at a graph of the power and torque, though it didn't feel much better or worse from behind the wheel. In fact, the power feels just barely adequate. It has enough power to scoot about town, and it has just enough to avoid feeling dangerous when going up an on-ramp or attempting a pass, but it never feels brisk. 2018 Kia Rio EX hatchback. The transmission firmly sits in the OK camp, too. We only had an opportunity to drive the automatic, which is a traditional 6-speed. It shifts smoothly, and it's rather smart about picking gears when demanding more acceleration. The shifts themselves are a tad sluggish though, which is particularly evident in manual mode. It's a shame Kia didn't see fit to put one of its snappier dual-clutch transmissions in the Rio, as it would have livened up the driving experience. Of course it also would have increased the cost. Though pricing hasn't been nailed down, Kia said the cheapest Trio, an LX sedan with a manual transmission, will start at about $13,990. However, The feature content, or lack thereof, of the base Rio EX means that the higher spec S is a more even comparison with the more expensive hatchbacks, and the prices will probably be more even, too, eliminating much of a value advantage.